So, hey guys, this is a recap and somewhat of a bit of an introspective look about my last video, the whole Focus 12, using Robert Monroe's, the Monroe Institute's techniques and their isochronic, isochronic and binaural beats is essentially what they use. Again, very intense, as I'm pretty sure you could see from the last video. This is something that I want to give a bit of my insight on, okay? So, first things first. I know it has not been a consistent journey for me with regard to opening, doing these videos. However, I'm going to do my best to make more videos a lot more consistently. So I do apologize for that for those of you that actually like to watch my videos. I will say this. My journey is, I'm getting somewhere at this point. The Focus 12, what is it? Well, it's a way that it's a level of consciousness that you are supposed to reach in order to experience, I guess, the next level of consciousness, if you will. I've read several books and things like that about, the earthly plane, and then above that, the next one would be essentially where the fantasy land, dreamland, or don't get me wrong, it's real. It's not just dreams. But anything you think of, it can actually come to pass. You literally can create things out of thin air. So my experience. First, I went into the Focus 10, which is essentially just a deep meditative state. But from then, I entered Focus 12. The thing about this is, if you use the Monroe Institute's program, then you will hear Robert Monroe himself explaining and kind of giving you insight into what to do, giving you directions about what to do, okay? So, sure enough, I'm listening to Robert during this time, and he's telling me to do certain things. He's telling me to create certain things, imagine certain things. The problem with it is this. It's not so much that it doesn't work, because it works, but it's a bit jarring once you get into that meditative state to then have somebody talk to you and tell you certain things. And while I know it's a part of the program, he's trying to give you directives, it doesn't give me enough time to explore what I've just created. For example, the mansion. Sure, I ended up in a house, or what seemed like a house, had 3 rooms, all of that jazz. I saw people in those rooms laying down to sleep. But then I hear, imagine yourself creating something that you want. Now, this is what I heard. Now, what was really playing is something a little bit different, but it was the same gist. So I created the mansion. Go outside. And remember, you're gliding at this point. You can walk through walls and things like that. This is dream state. At least to me, it's dream state. I've created a mansion, huge mansion and whatnot. Okay, whoop-de-doo, beautiful. Then all of a sudden I hear Robert say, think of something else. I can't even remember. I'm gonna have to go back and and write this stuff down. But I think of sex work. And I'm like, for whatever reason, I don't know why, because I'm stupid and I'm silly and just because, So again, this is dreamland. But I end up in Iraq, Iran, somewhere that looks like the Middle East. So let me backtrack. I don't know whether it was Iraq or Iran, but it looked like a war zone, essentially, with some people on what looked like a concrete pavilion that was leveled up off the ground. Okay. I see a couple of people that I don't recognize, but they recognize me. All right. And then all of a sudden I hear again, imagine someone you want to see. That one got me. So that was what really triggered the emotions, because it was more than just a dream at this point. Once I thought of that, now mind you, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. Between each of his directives, once he gives you a directive and you try and you comply, well, I complied, then everything turned white, like cloudy, and then I'm where I wanted, and I've created what I created with my mind. Okay, but this time, imagine going visiting someone that you wanted to see, or at least that's what I heard in my mind. I thought about my grandmother. Now, mind you, my grandmother has passed away, and she was the one who pretty much took care of me. She was essentially my mom for a great deal of my life. And so I wanted to see her. That is when I took off like a rocket. Now, based on everything that I've researched, and all the videos that I've seen, I understand that when we are in that second body, it can take you where you want to go. If you think of the person, it's easier to get where you want to go if you think of the person. So I kept that in my mind. I thought of my grandmother, and I shot up like a rocket. It didn't take long, but it was almost as if I was covering a pretty great distance in a short amount of time. And then I landed near this door. It did not feel the same as a lucid dream at this point. Okay. I went through the door, yada, yada, yada. I saw my grandmother. But the thing was, why was she in somebody's kitchen frying what seemed to look like chicken? Although this chicken was not as, it was bigger than a regular leg of chicken from Earth, if you will, but it was smaller than a turkey's leg. But it was in this huge pot that looked like a wok with frying oil, I'm gonna say. Although the oil looked a little bit different, it looked a lot more clear and less viscous than regular oil. And those of you that don't know what viscosity is, it's how thick the resistance of an oil, of a liquid to move. So honey would be very, very viscous, but water would be not very viscous at all. You feel me? So anyways, it wasn't as viscous as regular oil from here. So I'm looking at this, I'm seeing this chicken frying. She's smiling. I can tell she's content, but why are you frying chicken for some? You know what I'm saying? Why? And I know that she's no longer in this plane, or at least that I'm aware of. And considering she still looked the same as my grandmother, of maybe a little bit younger, but not quite, she looked, it was my grandmother, ultimately. And so you leave Earth to go, I guess maybe she just decided to go to a different physical place to do something similar, where I don't know. And so that kind of made me more emotional, because considering how it looks from the earthly perspective, it's very, why would I leave a job that I just, I've checked out from, to go back and do the same thing again, be in servitude. And I don't know whether she was in servitude. I'll be honest. I don't know. But that's the tug at my heart. That's what I just kind of felt when I came back into my body. Which, of course, again, Robert Monroe said, okay, we're going to basically leave Focus 12. And when I heard we're leaving Focus 12, that's when everything's kind of washed out. I went back into my body, ultimately. So I would just say that if you're going to do Focus 12, or if you're going to do the Monroe Institute's, the Gateway program, there are some things that you need to be aware of, okay? Be prepared to take directives because it is a way, it's basically they're giving you exercises on and basically to increase your, I guess, your knowledge and just to help you along with experiencing the out of body state. Okay, so it's a teaching ultimately. It just so happens that when I did it, I did come out at Focus 12. And maybe it was because I've had an out of body experience before. Some people just don't have it at all, or at least they're working up to it and just can't, or they, whatever the reason, they just haven't. So one thing to also keep in mind, it's intense. Going from focus 10, which is a deep meditative state, your body's relaxed and your mind is still very conscious, very just, you're awake, okay? But once you hit focus 12, then you'll notice those bright spots. You know how when you close your eyes and then you get those bright little dots all over your eyes? You know what I mean? Those, and even though your eyes are closed, you can see these. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know what the name of those are, but those spots are something like a gateway, in my opinion. That's kind of what I used to go through the process, even through Focus 12. Once I had Focus 12, I transfixed on one of those spots and it did expand. It got larger and larger. It turned white. Once it turns white, that's like when you know you are on the precipice of lucid dream, okay? And this is going from lucid dream to out of body. And it just so happens I thought of a person that I wanted to see. When I thought of the person, I went to the person, but that's where the jolt happened. And I'm gone. Yeah. So the key also to this is you got to stay calm, because I've been doing this for a while and I get so excited when I'm ready to take off or just to get out of my body and whatnot, because it's been a little while since I've been able to do it on my own. I got so excited. Oh my God. But even if you are in a deep, I guess, not a trance, but a deep meditative state, when you get to focus 12, it becomes intense. My body got hot. Like it took my focus away because I started breathing heavy. My heart rate sped up. I'm just explaining my experience with Focus 12. My heart rate, it went up. And I was focusing, focus. And then the more I focused, the more I was forcing the focus, if you will, like forcing myself to peer into those white little colorful light blotches. Now, because keep in mind, I still have my eye covers on and whatnot, but I forced myself to look through them. And then, of course, everything turns white and a picture comes up. I'm in a different world. I'm in a different plane, if you will, in my lucid dream world, if you will. Okay? So if you are interested in Focus 12, I'm going to suggest do it. I think it's worth a go. Everybody's different. Some people may think it's way too intense for them at first. It's intense. Yeah. Physically, I felt it. So it is what it is. But outside of that, I have some other things to share with you that I will wait to share, because this is running a little long. So, but that was the thing, y'all. This shit works. It really does. Give it a try. I'm gonna suggest it. But until next time, remember, you can't be scared. So but the more you do it, the less you'll feel afraid as well. Okay, nothing can hurt you in the form of out of body form. Thanks for joining me. Until next time.